Welcome to the Sales Dojo podcast. The podcasts are here to help you address the real issues salespeople face every single day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to This Week in Sales. It's one of those weird weeks if you're in work because it's been the Easter break and a lot of you might have just had 2 4-day weeks back to back and you've now no idea what day of the week it is and realised how bloody brilliant a 4-day weekend would be every week. So if you're listening to this and you've just got back in the office, just back on the road, welcome back. We're going to share some things we've seen on LinkedIn to maybe help you get some of your sales over the line, get some stuff in your pipeline this week. First one we're going to look at was shared by you, Leon, by Darcy J. Smith.
Yeah, Darcy's a sales psychology geek, which we like, and he's also a major deal negotiation, which is not really what you are, is it? It just says what you do. Anyway, so it caught my eye because it says winning Wales isn't done by creating the best product. And I was like, I love this conversation because I like having conversations about big opportunities and stuff like that. And I'm intrigued to find out what yours are, and I'd love to have an open conversation with listeners about what their points on winning Wales are. But he says winning Wales isn't done by creating the best product, and he says Wales, W-H-A-L-E-S, not as in the country Wales, or having the best offer, or the fastest process for delivery. All of that secondary to the most important question you need to answer, which is this: how do your buyers make money? And the questions that sit underneath that are, what is the business model? Who do they serve? What levers can they pull to make more margin? Without the answer to these questions, you shouldn't be whining and dining any Wales. I feel like he's missed an opportunity to do an AI picture of him whining and dining 2 big blue whales.
Like sat at a white tablecloth table with a candle and everything with him.
Yeah. You shouldn't be whining and dining any Wales. It'll be a waste of time, money, and wine. But if you truly understand your Wales, how they make money, their daily challenges in a way of that money, the critical people they need to impress on the path to making that money, and the key metrics they have to have an eye on 24/7, then the gates of Whale paradise can open up to you. Because if you know the business model, their ideal market, how they make money, you can start to predict the constraints holding them back from exactly that. This is the key to more than anything else. He goes on then to talk about KPIs and stuff like that. He has done a picture of a whale saying, I'm kind of a big deal, but I definitely think he's missed the opportunity to get AI picture of him with 2 whales and a glass of wine. My thoughts on this were, whenever I talk about whales, I always get nervous when people talk about them completely differently than how they talk about something that they don't perceive as a whale. And when we're talking about whales, for someone who's listening and wondering why the friggin' hell we're talking about these giant things that roam around the seas, we're talking about those big opportunities, those big whale opportunities that if they come in and land, you've done 25%, 50% of your yearly target with one of these things. And the reason why I'm always interested in these conversations is whenever I speak to someone, they always talk about treating them so much differently than they do than every other prospect. And I always think, how can you ever measure if that was going to work? If you think about it logically, if you measure your success on the things that you do and the behaviors that you do with each prospect, pushing them down your own sales funnel or pipeline and getting them to make decisions, if you treat this whale opportunity differently, you can't measure it against the same things. You can't measure it against the same metrics. And we're all guilty of becoming addicted to hopium now and again. And I always find that these big ones do that. I don't know about you, Chris, and I'd love to find out what you do and what you advise people when I'm dealing with one of these bigger prospects. But I often don't get involved in something too big just for the point of the fact that it will make me treat it so different in terms of what it's expecting of me, that it generally, the success rate on them seems to be so much different than normal ones. I would rather funnel and spend my time on other prospects which are more of an ideal fit. I always think that a whale prospect or one of these big, massive ones is actually probably not your ICP. Don't know what you think.
I mean, there's so much context around this, isn't there? Obviously, it depends what you sell. Like Darcy, love this, but what's his name? He used to sell water coolers. Really nice chap.
Steve Rest.
Steve Rest, yeah, he's come on cold call like a boss and that. he doesn't need to understand how his client makes money to sell a water cooler. Like, I don't, maybe he does, but I don't get the link that Darcy's making here. What I think you should have written this post, really, mate, about Wales is don't change your process. You have to a little bit. Here's where I see people going wrong. And hand on heart, this is where I've gone wrong with what would be classed as a whale. So let's say prospect A is your run-of-the-mill bread and butter client, and they spend X amount with you every year. And you've got a load of them, and you know the process, you know the problems, you know how you help them. Off you go, you follow that. And then you get a little whiff of a whale coming, which is 25 times whatever your bread and butter's spending with you. What happens? People just turn to mush. Like, their head falls off, the process disappears, they go sycophantic, and it all goes horribly wrong because they're far too focused on the outcome. They're already buying that Porsche 911, building an extension on their house, taking the whole family to Disney World if this comes in, and they get all flustered and worried about it because it's such a potentially big deal. To me, the most important thing is you've still got to be prepared to walk away from it. You still cannot be outcome orientated with it, because the second you go sycophantic and outcome orientated, you lose all credibility. And the likelihood is, if you're dealing with a big company, you're dealing with a professional buyer, they're going to be dead good. And they're just going to destroy you if you go all to mush. So don't be outcome orientated. Just take this one stage at a time. What will be, will be. You know, how often do you hear and we read it online? Oh, I lost a massive deal. No, you didn't. You never had it. You've not lost anything. Yeah. Other than the new car that was in your head. Take it one step at a time. Be prepared to walk away, or they're negotiating you, and keep control. This is, if you're going to do anything, don't lose control at any stage. Keep that moving forward. Keep things being agreed for the next step as you go along. Because it is going to be a different process to your small person, because I would imagine a smaller deal might not need procurement, legal, finance, CTO sign-off, all this. It is a different process, but it's the same process that you do now, just repeated a lot of times with the same company. Keep control. Don't turn to mush. Know your walk-away point, and don't spend the money until it's in your bank, you've paid the tax, and they can't have the money back.
Yeah. That's often the thing that people see is they light up at the opportunity of winning the deal, and they don't think about the difference and the length of time and how much focus you put on this one that you're losing on the other ones. And I'm as guilty as anyone of doing this from time to time as well. Is, you know, we'll be looking at some numbers and I'll have that one that I'm trying to get over the line and spend a load of time on it, and then I turn around and look at some of the other ones I haven't done the time on and put the time into them, and they add up to more than what the value of the bigger one was anyway, and they all come in really quickly.
Well, it's a great point, mate. The time management of it is it worth it? Are they going to be more hassle? Can you actually do the job? If you're a startup, is it going to take all your business's focus, this one client, and then they suddenly say no at the last minute, or they go bust? And you're in a whole world of pain. There's some businesses I've worked with, and 90% of their revenue is 2 customers. I'm like, you've not really got a business. You just work for them.
Yeah.
Like, if one of those goes, half your business is gone. So yeah, whales on the surface sound great, but there's a whole load of booby traps going along with them.
I think you could have extended your water analogy when you said whales on the surface sound great. You could have said something like, but underneath there's a load of sharks that might bite you in the ass. Yeah,
the blowholes are in there somewhere as well. Yeah. And barnacles, and we'll work on it. There's an analogy in there. So yeah, we get it, Darcy. You've got to figure out exactly what they're trying to achieve. But it's an interesting conversation, isn't it?
One thing before we do move, which I did like in the post, was the point of like their interests. So when you are working on one of these bigger deals, your product or service might be the sale to the company, but you've got to try and focus on what's in it for the person who's making the decision. So if that's someone in procurement, or if that's the chief finance officer, the chief finance officer might want to make them numbers stack up a bit better, whereas the business might want to buy your product for improved money making abilities or whatever, and you've got to make sure that you do focus on what's in it for the person you're speaking to as well as what the product or service. I think that's a really good point that this makes.
Yeah, super point. Yeah, and it can go as simple as you're championing with the company, you're just going to make them look good. That's all they get at. This deal goes through and works. They look really good in their company's eyes. The CTO's got the right numbers, or the CFO's got the right numbers. Yeah, lots we could unpack. We should maybe do a whole episode about Wales, not the country, although we could do a Welsh-based This Week in Sales. Right, thanks for that. Next up, Cade Hinkle. Short post. Hello, Cade. I don't think we've ever mentioned you on This Week in Sales before. GTM at Common Room. GTM? Am I ignorant for not getting the acronym?
Go to market.
Go to market. There we go. I didn't know whether it was a new AAE, SDR, RSVP.
It might be a new one. Great Tango Man.
Great Tango Man. So Cade, the Great Tango Man. He's putting speech marks here, so I think this is a cold call he's making. This is Cade from Common Room. I'm calling to book a meeting with you. He says, this is the opener I've been using on sales leaders recently. Shout out Adi Atol for the idea. Been working so far, and this photo here led to a 5-minute convo. This photo here? Oh, it's the transcript that he's put on there. I like it because I can get straight to my pitch with no problems, unless they say no. But most of the time they're confused and ask what I'm calling about. And boom, right to the pitch. Would you try this opener? Now, lots and lots of comments on here. And this was really interesting, this post to me. I had to comment. So I don't phrase it quite like this, but I've been using this opener for years. And I read this in Stephen Schiffman's book.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen Schiffman wrote this in the 1980s. I read it in the 90s. And it's been working well for me. I phrase it slightly different. I'm calling it specifically because I've been keen to book a meeting with you. And it's working on click-word responses, auto responses. So if you phone somebody up and say, listen, we've never spoken before, but I'm calling specifically because I've been really keen to book a meeting with you. The auto response more often than not is why? Why's that? And then you can get into Cade calls it his pitch. You could call it your problem statement, whatever you want to do. It just gives immediate context to your outreach. Mixed responses, Cade, to your post here, as everybody has an opinion, don't they? They're like arseholes. Everybody's got one. But I'm with Cade. I like this. And the thing that I like is he says it's been working for him. Right, we'll do that then. Like, if other people don't like it, that's fine. If it's working for you, don't change it. I saw you like this post as well, Lingham. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like the upfrontness of the fact that you're just telling someone you're calling to book a meeting with you, with them. And I've used it in the past. Do I use it all the time? No. I tend to go back to something that I've been using for about 27 years as an opener, to be fair. But I've certainly used it in the past. And I'm with you. I don't say specifically. I would usually say, Chris, it's Leon. I'm phoning to work out if it's worth us having a half-hour meeting in the next couple of weeks.
Like that.
And then they'll usually, and what I often do, or what I've always tried to do, is try and get a question in a statement. So by stating something, it actually becomes a question in their head, and then they feel they're obligated to answer that. So then when I say that, the question in their head is like, what do you want a meeting with me for? And then that would give me the opportunity to say, well, I'm glad you asked. That this is what we do. I usually speak to people in the last 3 months of the contract. If that's not now, can you tell me when yours is? And I'll ring you back at the right time. Because what it lets you do is it lets you be fast, but get the information that you need and get the hell out of there. There's no point in spending loads of time with a big, long, elaborate opener and a really clever thing if it's the wrong time. Because of the mobile stuff that we do, I was chatting to someone about this just before. Only 1 in 12 people I have a conversation with will be the right person, the right time for me to have a conversation with them further about their mobile phone contracts. They're all in 24-month contracts. We usually see them in the last 3 months. So it's on average 1 in 12. So I want to find that out as soon as possible before they not twig. That's not the right turn of phrase because it sounds like you're trying to hoodwink someone there. But if I can get the right answers from someone quick before they put the phone down, I always think you've got maybe 20, 30 seconds of time before they start looking at the other things and the list of things that they want to do. So if I can get the information out of them quickly, I'll just say, yeah, no worries, I'll phone you back. It's the wrong time. I'll give you a call back in 10 months.
As you said, it gets to the point. And that's it. It's got context, and you're just getting to the point. So many cold calls we hear fluff around and round the houses because they're terrified of hearing a no. It's easier to not get to the point, isn't it? Whereas this, right up front, calling to book a meeting with you. Why is that? Well, listen, I might be off the mark, but I've seen a big trend in recruitment agencies approaching us recently. They're telling us one or two things. This is pissing them off. This is really frustrating them. Don't suppose you're finding the same. You're just into it. It's an opener into your call. It's not clever. It's not big and flash. It's straight to the point, and it's worked for, well, bloody hell, 40 years now. And Stephen Schiffman knows a thing or two. If you've not read Stephen Schiffman's books, he's a guy from New York. Well worth going and read. I think Cold Calling Techniques was his first book in the 80s. So, Kate, like that, if it's working for you, don't change it. Don't listen to people going, well, I'd never listen to that. Well, results speak for themselves, don't they? Boss that, Kate. So, an actual piece of advice on This Week in Sales, an actual call opener you could go and use. Hey, it's Kate from Common Room. I'm calling to book a meeting with you. Obviously, don't say it's Kate from Common Room, because that would be really weird if you're not.
Unless your name is also Kate and you're in sixth form and you're sitting in the common room at that particular moment in time.
That could be, yeah, that's a very good point, like the in-betweeners. Right, next up, we've got, if I pronounce your last name wrong, Peter, my apologies, Peter Bisinge, B-U-S-I-N-G-E. His title is Results-Driven Sales Professional. Love that, Peter. Why did I share this, Leon? Because it's a top 10. We love a top 10, don't we? But there is some detail in it, so I'm just going to give the headlines. Jump in when there's anything that stands out to you, Leon. Peter Bisinge says, are you a fast-time salesperson? I think he means first time. Now, he's either not used AI for this and made a spelling mistake, good man, or he's cleverly put a spelling mistake in so it doesn't look like AI. We just never know.
We're just so cynical about AI these days, aren't we?
Oh, the Matrix has gone mad, hasn't it? So, are you a first-time salesperson? Here are the 10 key points to take note of as you look forward to see yourself excel to greater heights in your fast 30 days at work. So, you're a new salesperson. You've got a month ahead of you. What can you do? There's a top 10 from Peter. Let's see how much we like these, everyone. Number 1, he says, understand the product inside out.
Do we have a buzzing noise to when we want to buzz in, or?
You're going to have to do it with your mouth, I'm afraid.
Hey-ha.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with number 1 a little bit in terms of it reminds me very much of many years of sales where you get someone in and you give them 3 days of product training and then send them on the way without any sales training. And the analogy that I would always use was one of my old sales managers, Jason Ward, God bless him, he's still with us. He's not passed away, by the way, but he was a really great guy. And he once said to me, I asked him a question around product knowledge and stuff, and he said, if I had £1 million worth of IT to sell, would I get 5 IT nerds to sell it, or would I get 5 salespeople to sell it? And I was like, okay, yeah. So, you do want to understand the product to a certain degree, but I don't think you need to understand it inside out. Like, don't spend hours and hours and months and weeks. Obviously, you need to understand enough to know well, but I think, especially if you're new, I think one of a good way that you can build trust with someone, not in a fake way, so you pretend you don't know the answer to a question, but in a genuine way, is when you get asked a question and you say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, let me find out for you. That really does build trust, because the thing that often people try and do is go, oh yeah, what it is, and they'll just give you some big, mad, long explanation, which is not correct. Sorry to interrupt already on number 1.
Yeah, that's all right. We're going to extend the episode today. No, it's to understand the product inside out. It's quite often used as an excuse by salespeople. Oh, I'm not ready to do this yet. I don't want to pick the phone up yet. I don't want to do this because I don't understand the product enough. Crack on. He does say confidence comes from knowledge. I get it. You can feel unconfident with it, but it's not important. I'd feel it's more important to understand the customers than you. How have you helped them? Like, if you've got a new salesperson, go and get them to speak to your top 5 customers about how you help them and how you make the world different. That'll give them confidence. Imagine if you went into a meeting knowing you've just spoke to 5 people who said you changed their life. Yeah. How confident would you feel going into that meeting over product knowledge? Number 2, then, know your target customers. Understand who your ICP is, needs, pain points, buying behavior. This helps you sell smarter, not harder. Yeah. 3, study competitors. I'm waiting for any buzzer noise at any point. 4, master the sales process.
I mean, that was my interruption buzzer. Like, master the sales process. What, in 3 days? Like, I don't think you should ever master a sales process. I think a sales process will always change as trends happen and stuff like that. So I don't think you should ever get yourself in a situation where you feel like you have mastered a sales process. I would say you should just have a sales process and be open to changing, amending, measuring, and fixing it all the time.
It's a follow-up process.
Yes.
Rather than master it. Processes, form fortunes. 5, shadow experienced salespeople. 6, build a daily prospecting routine. 7, practice your sales pitch. I'll give you the details on that. Refine how you introduce your product and your service. Keep it clear, confident, and customer focused. Number 8, learn to handle objections. Number 9, track your activities and results. And number 10, ask for feedback and improve fast. And then cheeky number 11, bonus tip, instead of a top 11, stay disciplined and positive. The first 30 days can be tough, but consistency builds momentum. And then you graphic. Oh, hang on. There was
it's just like, stay positive. Like, fuck, what kind of fucking advice is that? Like, stay positive. You can't stay positive. I think what you can do is you can understand that some days you might feel like it might not happen. And some days you're thinking like you can conquer the world. You kind of need to stay ambivalent to both of those extremes of what's going to happen. I don't think you can stay positive.
I had a quote the other day, and I think it was, of all people, Jimmy Carr. And he was asked about, how does he keep so upbeat? How does he come up with all material? Blah, 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 blah. And I can't remember the exact circumstance, but his quote was, inspiration and motivation is for amateurs. Professionals just go to work. Like, if you don't wait to feel positive, don't wait to feel motivated, get off your arse and go and do it. That will drive your motivation and your inspiration. And I remember years ago, one of the first bits of sales advice I was ever given was this, get good with rejection. It's just water off a duck's back. Don't take it personally. So what happened? I got rejected a lot and I started to take it personally. Why? Because I'm a human being with like emotions and feelings and shit. But I've been told that was the wrong thing to do. So not only did I feel bad because I've been rejected, I also felt like I'd failed because I felt rejected. I would say better advice is be as positive as you can, but accept that sometimes you won't be, and that's okay as well. Build a strategy to get through it, whether you're positive or negative. You're not going to be Mr. Motivator every day, are you? So, Peter, it's a good list. I'd like to zoom in on learn to handle objections, for one. Is how often, Leon, do we talk to salespeople and they say, oh, I always get this objection. And we say, oh, right. How do you respond? How do you navigate around that or through that? And they go, what do you mean? So when you say you always get it, what have you done to get better at responding to it? And they look at you like you got two heads. Like, well, if it's something that's always happening, you've got Google now, you've got ChatGPT, they'll give you lots of results. Why don't you try something to get past it? Or are you just hoping that it will go away? Get good. It's going to happen. Just practice really cool responses to these things to get further into a conversation. If you don't take sales seriously, you won't make serious sales. You've got to do that one. What do you talk to people about objections when they go, oh, I always get that one?
Yeah. Well, look, you're right. If something always happens, the definition of stupidity is expecting a different response when the same thing always happens all the time. I hate the idea of overcoming objections. I'm kind of not sure about handling objections. I just try and think of an objection as a request for more information. Like, every time you get one, it means that they don't understand something. Because if you're switched on to helping people make decisions rather than getting sales, all that an objection is that they don't understand it enough to be able to make the decision. So you just need to help them understand it. So ask them some questions around what it is. Well, what do you mean by that? What do you say? What I'm hearing? All of that kind of stuff. and get them to explain what the objection in inverted commas is and how you can help them to understand it better.
Be curious with objections, don't fight them. The last two for me, if we put this in context, Peter, you said your first 30 days. I'd say there's only two on this list that you need to do. One, ask for feedback and improve. So the number one thing you can do if you're new to a sales job, feedback is a gift, breakfast of champions, all that good stuff. Seek out feedback as often as you can and practice. Just rehearse. Be wary of copying the top seller in the room, I would say. Have a coffee with them, ask for the secret to their success. But it's like, if I wanted to start playing five-a-side footy and I started trying to mimic Ronaldo, well, that's not going to go well, is it? And I'm just going to feel really let down. So I would say, yeah, number 10 for me, ask for feedback often. Be a sponge, be a student for your first 30 days. Don't expect to set the world on fire.
Yeah, I would say my favorite one is build a daily prospecting routine.
Oh, yeah. Love that. Number 6.
Like, just get something in that makes you do it. And, we always talk about 10 before 10 and stuff like that. But, like, just get something in that makes you do it because it will set you aside from loads. Like, it'll set you aside from loads of salespeople, business development managers, account executives, whatever they're called, if you are prospecting every single day. And you don't have to be making 1,000 calls a day. If you just send 10 emails, send 10 messages, 10 DMs, 10 connection requests, 10 phone calls, 10 fucking business cards, take a picture of 10 vans when you're out, whatever your target market is, some form of prospecting every day will set you apart from everyone else who's in the industry.
Those little changes in it, little tweaks. Great shout. Right, last post for this week comes from Hendrik Ajama. Hendrik, again, if we've butchered your name, our apologies. Hendrik says, I join every sales call 90 seconds early. So by call, I'm guessing he means a video meeting here, not a call, because that would be impossible. When you join early, the prospect's AI note taker joins early too. I spend the first few seconds saying things like, just got off a call with their top competitor. They're doing another renewal already. Okay, whatever. Let me focus on this next one. I don't care what finance says. I actually like this prospect. I'm giving them the good pricing. Or no, tell Microsoft I can't take the call right now. I'm meeting with someone else. I then do the rest of the demo normally. When the call ends, the prospect gets an AI summary that reads, vendor appears to be going rogue on pricing in our favor. Our top competitor is their customer and renewing aggressively. They are emotionally invested in our success. General jungler, product demo, and next steps. Close rate is up 340%. You can't see this if you're listening on the podcast. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you will be able to. Was Leon's expression through this? Let's dig into that slightly. Tell us what your facial expression was conveying then, Leon.
Yeah, so I kind of smiled at the start because I thought, I like that, clever little thing. And then it dawned on me that basically the start of your relationship is a lie. Like, it's all false. It's all fake. And if you start a relationship on that basis, it's only going one way. I just don't see... Close rate up 340%. Like, your close rate must have been tiny at the start anyway. If it's going to be up 340%, like that's just ridiculous. But I just don't think you should ever start any relationship on the basis of a lie. And that's why, like when we were talking about cold calls at the start before, now you're opening them and people go, look, this isn't a sales call. Soon as you do that, you've started the relationship with a lie. And with this, I kind of smiled, and if I seen this on a film, I'd go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Wolf of Wall Street and all that kind of stuff. But like, no one's falling for this. Plus, you don't know what kind of AI they actually use and what kind of level of summation it does, whether it actually gives the full text or whether it gives notes and how clever it is at taking them notes. I just think this is fraught with danger. I can smile at it, but I wouldn't do it.
A couple of points on this. One really interesting. I got a cold call the other day. I rarely get them. If you're listening, I've put my mobile number on my LinkedIn profile to prove a point. I've had a DM off the same guy 3 times now. Just chasing up. I promise I'll leave you alone now because I've ignored his DMs. And while he's writing them, he must be looking at my phone number and he hasn't phoned me up. But I got a sales call off a guy and it wasn't very good. but I'll give him all the time of day. He's doing a job, and a hard job. And I said, listen, pal, I said, I run a business. You might sell what I need. Just tell me what you do. And you never know, I might book a meeting with you. Oh, no, we're not selling. This is just like a customer reach out to see if we can. Why would you do something just for your own good? Just tell me what you're selling. I might buy it. And he went round and round the houses. Well, immediately, I'm never going to do business with this company because it just sounded like bullshit. This did make me smile. What also made me smile was when I looked at this was a week ago, which was April the 1st, which is why he's got so many likes and comments on this, is I love your point, and I think this is done with the tongue hanging out the side of your mouth, Hendrik, because this was clearly done on the morning of the 1st of April, and lots of people have gone, hey, great one. I'm hoping it was an April Fool's joke, mate. I really am.
Done me up like a kipper then.
Who knows? I didn't mean to stitch you up at all, Leon, with that, because if this was a real post, then that would be exactly my remarks on it as well. It started on a lie. It's very clever. And we get that. And this used to be, I mean, years ago, we'd be doing what's that? Manager's just come in. Hang on a minute. Somebody's trying to get me attention. What, just for this afternoon? I'll let them know, but I don't think they'll go for it. And like, there's nobody there. We just pulled all this bullshit pranks on people all the time because it was Wolf of Wall Street, Boiler Room, Glengarry, Glen Ross style sales approaches. It is interesting though, isn't it? And I think there's a bigger debate here, whether this is April Fool's post or not, is as AI advances in sales, the line between us knowing what's real and not real is going to get more and more blurred.
Yeah.
And it's going to make Twiz more difficult. It's going to make social media in general more difficult. Getting to know people harder. Is it actually them? Tim Johnson, if you're listening, pal, I never know whether I'm actually WhatsApping with you or robot Tim anymore. I just don't know. And I just think it's a really interesting time we're going into now as this reality blur gets bigger. Didn't mean to stitch you up at all there, Leon. That wasn't my intention. Your comments were absolutely valid. Some of the comments on LinkedIn, I will always succeed because I am insane. Yeah, I think that's fair feedback on the post. I know it always makes me trust companies more when I see them publicly brag about lying and manipulating their prospects. Yeah, good, Jacob Berger, good comment. This is wild, but also kind of inevitable. We're moving from selling to people to selling to systems that sell to people, which ironically is a comment made with AI because he's got the little arrow in it. The world's going madly on. I don't know what to do.
Neither do I.
You know what you could do? You could sign up to our YouTube channel. You could subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe to YouTube, that's cool. You could go on TikTok. You can find the Sales Dojo there now. Or what would really be nice, if you get stuff from This Week in Sales, maybe you've taken a little tip from something somebody shared, do two things. Find that person on LinkedIn, go and tell them. That'd proper make their day, wouldn't it? If you've got a sale off the back of something they've shared. And if you do this a lot, and if you like listening to Twiz, go and give us a bit of feedback on Apple or Spotify or whatever you do. You can leave us a little testimonial. That really helps as well. And if you've learned something today, go and share it with somebody else. That'd be proper boss, that. And if you think it's been crap and you don't want to share it with everyone, well, just keep that to yourself because snitches get stitches.